My husband is unemployed. His pride is slowly suffocating our family, and the breaking point came on a rainy night. On the day I married him, I truly believed I was a woman favored by fate. He stood at the altar, calm and composed, his eyes confident, his suit neatly pressed. Friends and relatives looked at me with admiration. Everyone said I was lucky. Lucky too. Marry a man who was well educated, worked for a foreign company, had a stable income, and a clear future ahead of him. I believed that too, not because of the money, but because I believed he was a man with a sense of responsibility. He once held my hand and said firmly, "I can't promise you a luxurious life, but I promise I will never let you suffer." I believed him, but life always has its sudden turns, without warning. Less than 6 months after our wedding, his company went bankrupt. One afternoon, he came home earlier than usual. The house was completely silent. He sat down, and after a long time, he finally said, "I lost my job." No tears, no complaints, not a single word blaming fate. I hugged him and told him it would be okay. I thought, as long as he was willing to stand back up, any job would do, as long as he still had the will to move forward. I believed our love was strong enough to get through this stage, but day after day, I began to realize something painful. He didn't stand up, he merely existed. He stayed home all the time. The moment he woke up, he turned on his computer. Late at night, the screen was still glowing. When I asked, he said he was looking for a job that was worthy of his qualifications. I didn't push him, I didn't rush him. I was afraid of hurting his pride, until our savings started to run out. Rent, utilities, food, everything fell on my shoulders alone. There were days when I came home from work completely exhausted. I opened the door and found the house exactly the same as it had been that morning. He was still there, sitting in front of the computer, his face heavy with thought. I asked if he had eaten. He said he wasn't hungry. I went into the kitchen, cooked dinner, and set out to bowls, but only one was touched. The first time I suggested it, I said carefully, "Maybe you could drive for a ride-hailing app for now. At least we'd have some income, and then we can figure things out." He looked at me as if I had touched his deepest wound. "Do you think I went to university just to do those kinds of jobs?" I froze. Not because his words offended me, but because I understood, in his mind, those jobs were beneath him, and our life together was not important enough for him to lower himself. I endured. I told myself he was hurting. I waited, but I waited, and all I received was silence and delay. One day, overwhelmed with exhaustion, I broke down crying. "I just need you to do something. I don't need you to be impressive, I just need you to be responsible." He said nothing. So silent that it felt like I was talking to a wall. He said his parents taught him to live with dignity, that doing manual labor would make people look down on him. I asked, "Then letting your wife carry all the financial burden, is that dignity?" He turned his face away. Our rented apartment grew more and more suffocating. Not because of its size, but because the air itself felt heavy. Silent meals dragged on endlessly. The clinking of chopsticks against bowls sounded harsh and unbearable. I swallowed each grain of rice as if swallowing disappointment itself. Friends invited me out to eat, but I didn't dare go. I was afraid of spending money. Afraid of coming home to find him unchanged. Every night, I thought about the man he used to be. The man who once stood tall in life, who promised to shield me from rain and hardship. Now, he felt like someone hiding inside the shell of his past, afraid to step into the present. I didn't hate him. I was just slowly running out of strength to love him. Then the breaking point came, on a rainy night. That day, the landlord called to remind us about the rent. I had just gotten off work, my body completely drained. I came home and found him still there, the same laptop, the same familiar words. "I'm working on a project." I put my phone down on the table. My hands were trembling. "The rent is due." He replied with a short "okay," without even looking up. Silence stretched between us. Outside, rain tapped relentlessly against the window. I asked, my voice hoarse, "How long are you going to keep going like this?" He frowned. You're always putting pressure on me. Those words felt like the final knife. I laughed, a laugh so tired it hurt. Pressure. Do you know what pressure really is? Pressure is waking up every morning worrying about food, rent, electricity bills. Pressure is sitting across from your husband and not even daring to ask what he plans to do with his life. He suddenly stood up. You don't understand me. I stood up too, tears pouring down my face. You're right, I don't understand. I don't understand why your pride matters more than this family. I don't understand why you'd rather protect the title of being educated than protect your wife. He shouted, You look down on me. I screamed for the first time in our marriage. No, I need you. The room fell into complete silence. The rain outside felt like it was pounding straight into my chest. I looked at him, a 30-year-old man who had once been confident and strong, now standing in front of me with eyes full of defensiveness, pride, and emptiness. In that moment, I understood something deeply painful. I wasn't losing my husband because we were poor. I was losing him because he no longer wanted to carry responsibility. That night, he stood on the balcony for a very long time. I sat alone in the room, and for the first time, the thought of letting go crossed my mind, not because I stopped loving him, but because I was too tired to keep waiting. I asked myself, between pride and responsibility, which one truly defines a man's character? Between waiting and setting yourself free, which path hurts less? If you were me, would you choose to wait? Or would you walk away, so neither of you has to keep hurting the other?